Okay, welcome. Here is Simone Vincenzi, co-founder of GTEx, Growing Together Exponentially. And I'm here with Paul Atherton. Paul, give us a wave.
Good afternoon.
And we are going really to create something magical and something special for you today. If you're looking for increasing your sales and grow your business, but selling from a place of love and authenticity, you are in the right place. Before we start, and before Paul is going to share a bit more about his story and also some sales tips that, if applied, can increase your business dramatically, I'm going to share a bit more about what GTEx is and what we do. We are a platform in London where we run a personal and business development event, but with a twist. All our events are really fun and really interactive. Also, we are creating a community so that running a business doesn't become anymore a lonely experience, but it becomes something that is really enjoyable, that you can do with friends, that can help you grow personally and professionally. So this is what we do, and Paul is going to be speaking on the 3rd of June for us. So this is why we decided to prepare this webinar for you, so you can have a taste about what Paul is about and what he has to offer. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Paul Atherton. He is the Sales Coach of the Year 2014. And he's not just a great sales coach, and I can see that from experience, because I've been to one of his talks with Patrick Powers, and the day after I made £600 using one of the closing technique that he told that night. And I was like, boom, blown away. I was like, thank you, Paul. That was really brilliant. So he's not just a great sales coach, but he's also a great person. Immediate connection. You can feel that. And this is why we wanted Paul to speak to one of our events. Because he can really connect with people and he's true in what his message is. And also, he gets a really practical result, which is what we're looking for. So, without further ado, I'll leave the word to Paul, and if you can share a bit more about who you are and what you do, and what has been your journey in particular to do what you do now and creating the stressless sales coaching system.
Certainly, Simone, thank you. Thanks for that introduction. Very flattering. Well, look, firstly, I believe that it's the right of every one of us to take our gifts, the things that we're good at, our strengths, the things that we do for free, right? So the stuff that we're really passionate about. I believe that it's our right to take those and find a way of turning them into money so we can create value for others, serve others with those gifts and strengths and passions, so that it's totally authentic. There's no need to act. There's no need to put on a mask. There's no need to pretend that we're like doing something we don't. Right? So that's the whole kind of my argument, if you like, around entrepreneurialism and around having your own business, being self-employed, or even if you are employed, taking charge of your life. And that is to have a choice and make the choice, because we've all got it, and make the choice to do what we enjoy doing and to do it so well in the service of other people that what we get as a result is we get a living, and the size of that financial reward is in direct proportion to the amount of service we give. It's as simple as that. So my entire philosophy revolves around us, in that we got one life, we got one chance, and that we know of, right? And my philosophy is all about taking the things we love doing, the stuff we do for free, right? But we're in a commercial society. We're in a society that's based on everything's reduced to the financial. So it's a case of turning what we do into service for other people so that we get what we need as a result. Now, that's what I believe. Okay, believe that sincerely. And what I do is I help people to do that. I help people to turn what they love doing into money by impeccably serving other people. Now, it just so happens that I happen to be a sales coach. Everybody who's got a business, if they're coming from a place of honesty and they're doing what they love and they know about it and they've experienced it and they're living it and it's their truth, not just some convenient little story or some get rich quick scheme or whatever, if it's their truth and they're living it, then they need more than just passion, right? It's crucial that you have that at your center, but what you need is you need know-how. You need to know how to communicate that and get that across to the world so that people want what you're offering and that you can charge a price for it that works for you and you can give value that's greater than that price. Now, where I fit into that is I help people to communicate that and to turn it into money. And it just so happens to be called sales. So, you know, every one of us is offering something that can improve somebody else's life. Every one of us. And when people realize and find what that thing is and that the gifts and strengths they've already got are there for a reason, that's the reason they've got them, is to turn them into value by serving other people, then life and business becomes a game and sales becomes a game. All you've got to do is learn the know-how and understand the obstacles you're going to face along the way. So that's why I do what I do, because I believe everyone has the right to do that and I can show them how to do it. I can help them navigate all the roadblocks and the hurdles that they're going to face by trying to turn what they love doing into money, because it doesn't take 5 minutes, and contrary to all the stuff that appears on our Facebook feeds, you don't instantly just follow a very simple model and start earning 10 grand a week. That doesn't happen. That's cloud cuckoo land. So that's why I do what I do.
And this is brilliant. And what you were talking about, and I can see your passion, first of all, when you talk about your subject. And a message that was really sticking to me in what you were saying, it was that if you have a gift and it's something that you are living, if you have a passion and you are living it, that is part of your life, that is your message, this is where is the point to share it with. You have the duty, actually, to share it with others, right?
Yes.
So it seems that you've been walking very well your talk from your experience. So what has been your turning point from where you were that made you say, no, this is what is my call, this is what I really want to do? Because I know about that, so I really want all the people that are watching us today to listen to your story that for me has been wow.
Sure. Well, there was a big turning point for me in 2007 when I was in theory and on paper, and to an outsider who may be looking at my life in 2007, you could say I was successful, because at that point I had all the material things that I had hoped for and dreamt for as a kid growing up in Liverpool. You know, I was earning over £250,000 a year. There was a lot of money in the bank. There was Mercedes and BMWs outside, paid for. We had a house twice as big as what we needed, and our holidays were to Dubai, New York City, and all the rest of it, and Bahamas. And you know, our life was full of stuff. My life was just full of material possessions, and everything that I dreamt of as a kid, I'd acquired in terms of stuff and material possessions. But I was in the worst state of my life in terms of the inner game, because all this stuff and material worth and the external trappings of success didn't fill me here, did not give me the feeling that I thought was promised by the universe when I kind of bought into this game in my in my 20s and started ruthlessly chasing money, you know. And when I say ruthlessly, what I mean is 18-hour days, 7 days a week, constantly pushing myself to the absolute limit to get better and better and better sales results, to get promotion after promotion after promotion in the corporate sales world. And with every promotion to running a bigger sales team and having more responsibility, and in the end having £100 million worth of responsibility in terms of sales to deliver, I just pushed myself to the absolute brink, so I didn't have time to sit back and smell the roses. And in 2007, I was burnt out completely. I was totally stressed out. I was certainly workaholic, alcohol dependent, and no longer able to keep up the game of everything depending. So success was contingent on exterior possessions. My success was contingent on the next sale. It was always contingent on tomorrow's results, next month's results, the next bonus, a bigger car, winning a competition, being the star of the show, and my team winning. And it was all contingent on that. There was no feeling of success being driven by I'm pursuing something that I really love. I'd lost sight of that and bought into the game that if you've got loads of stuff, you've made it. But that belief for me, it took me right to the edge of sanity, and physically as well. I was absolutely, completely burnt out. And it was when I checked into rehab in 2007 and out of society that I had 2 months not only to physically and mentally get well, but to re-examine my philosophy on life. You know, because when I was a kid and I started out knocking on doors at age 7 years old to get odd jobs and stuff, to get training shoes, to get trainers, you know, it was all fun. It was pure fun. And, you know, as a kid, I learned that the word no it's simply, you know, it just doesn't hurt, and there was no story associated with the word no. Rejection just didn't bother me. I just kept going next until I achieved my goals, and it was fun. Okay, and then when I first started professionally selling at 16 through till sort of my mid-20s, it was all for fun. And when I started coaching other people, it was all for fun. And okay, yeah, I was paying the bills, but the purpose was helping my customers to get what they wanted, so that as a byproduct I'd get what I wanted, and teaching other people to do the same. Now, just before I was 30, you know, that changed, and I quadrupled my income overnight, and bought into this paradigm, this belief that success is dependent on external stuff. Yeah. So, you know, what I had to do for me, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wealth, by the way, but it's the relationship with wealth, the relationship with success, and what success is truly deep down, that needs to be examined. And I needed to examine that very closely. And what dawned on me quite dramatically, in fact, was that there was, when I was focused on my own personal goals, when I was so heavily focused on my own personal goals, I need to get this, I must get that, I've got to set a really scary goal, a huge goal, the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. Success was always in the future. Yeah. So, and even when I got the goals, it wasn't good enough. There was something more to go for. That's not, for me, the way to do it. That's not my experience. Now, if it is for others, great. but that is not my experience of happiness and fulfillment. Fulfillment came when I switched that belief round and I remembered what I'd long forgotten, which is I've got gifts as everybody has, and so long as I pursue those gifts in the service of others, I don't need to think about what I get out of it, because I will get what I need out of it. So I need to focus on giving other people what they need, and not in a really soft way, you know, a false, soft, cuddly way. It's sometimes it's really pragmatic when I'm coaching and training people. I've got to tell them some real truths, but it's all about enriching them and making them more successful and showing them how to do it. When they're successful, as a byproduct, I'm successful. After that shift, everything changed. There was no more fear, there was no more anxiety. Success didn't lay in the future. Success lay in the present moment, in right now, doing what I thoroughly enjoy doing. That's what success lay in. Now, after that, hey, I'm not boring you too much here, am I, buddy?
No, go for it, man. Every time I hear your story, it's like I'm captured.
Now, after that, what's interesting is, you know, logically, what you know, you could easily think is, okay, after that you got into serving others, into purpose, rather than being so driven for your own goals. Well, you would imagine that maybe you sat back a bit and your results decreased because you're less intense about pursuing all these results and these goals and these big goals, and so you sort of sat back a bit, and success that you created, the value you created, sort of dipped, and income dipped, and enjoyment dipped, and you sort of settled for something that was less and safe and not as stressful. Actually, that couldn't have been further from the truth. Apart from the last bit, there was zero stress. Zero stress. When I forgot me, when I took me, this little action figure called Paul, with an apparent story and a past and a future, who has to be really successful and get loads of shiny stuff and bling and cars and houses and money to make him feel worthwhile. When I forgot that fictional action figure and all I focused on was other people, I was able to be totally spontaneous, in the moment, of real value, speak my truth with no investment in the outcome, and results skyrocketed. I started a new division within the business that I went back to, because they were a terrific business and they supported me through this period. I went back to this business. They didn't really know what to do with me because someone else had took my job. So they said, right, we want you to start this. And it was a completely different brand and product, and I built it in 2 years up to £10 million. It was a £10 million a year business, and it was from scratch. And it was through building a team, making them the stars, making them feel good, equipping them with the tools, encouraging them. When things went wrong, I took responsibility. When things went right, I shined the light of glory onto them. And it was always about them, not me.
Something that is really a big change. Like when we talk about giving up the ego, who we are and what we expect, and focus, as you're saying, in delivering value, and take a responsibility of our actions, but not be attached to it, not be attached on what we get out of it or what we don't get out of it. That's really when things can change, and as you were saying, as experience of a result, just less stress. And I have to say something, every time I go on a sales meeting, I think about you. I'm like, because I felt a time where I found myself pushing a sale with a client because I didn't feel that was going anywhere, and I said, well, it was like so done, what's happening? What I realized that inside I had all this like all these things that was building up, and I was like, man, where are you focusing on now? I was focusing more on myself and on getting the sales done. And I completely forgot for the like 10 minutes, for a good 10 minutes, what was the real need of the other person. This is why there was no communication, because I was on my side, he was on his side. But then I thought about you, and I was like, okay, you know what? Just focus on focus on the other person. And as soon as I said to myself, just see what is the other person that really wants, and give up the idea of closing the sales or not. In that moment, boom, something changed, something dramatically changed. He said, you know what, I'm signing up. And I was like, really? So it was so weird, the whole situation. But the word that you shared from the talk I hear last time, and every time you talk about your selling style and all your story and your journey, I'm like, that's really stuck with me. So I really want to thank you for that.
My privilege.
This is really something that everyone can use. Everyone can use. Just give up yourself and keep giving service. Of course, you have your price. Of course, your service is at a price. We are not denying that. But it's just the way how is the place where you offer this service.
Well, yeah, and let me embellish on it a little bit more, because this needs to be turned into something of value for listeners. And let's talk about this thing about me. So anybody, right? I'm talking about anybody, not Paul. So this thing about me and what I want as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, or as an employee, but with an entrepreneurial mentality, or I just want to do well. I just want to succeed. Whatever I'm doing, I want to succeed. Okay. The minute that becomes internally focused, I want to get, then what the ego does, okay, the ego hijacks that, and it turns everybody else into other. It turns everybody else into objects. Mm. So when I want to get, it means that everybody who is not me is an object that I need to manipulate to get what I've already predetermined I want. Mm. Now that is not the way to create value, and I see it all the time. And I'm on a mission at the moment, if anyone looks at my social media, because this is just ridiculous. People create products, and they create these products and these models and all this kind of stuff, and then they create a very fancy system that's intellectually really sort of impressive, and then they stick it in front of us and tell us that we're going to be instant millionaires, or even just you're going to earn 5 figures a week from this or whatever. And this highly intellectual, clever sounding, really simple sounding model that's enabled this shiny guy in the picture to have a fleet of Ferraris, apparently is ours. Now, that is just complete bullshit. Okay, anyone who's in business knows that does not happen. It might happen to one person in 100,000, or 1 in a million, or 1 in 10 million, but it's not going to happen. It's a bit like when you say, oh, I could win the lottery. I've got a lottery ticket I could win. Okay, you could, but you're not going to. You're not going to win. Yeah, well, someone wins, I know, but you're not going to win. That's the reality. So we've got to actually just uninvest from those dreams and that fantasy, and we've got to think, look, what do I actually want in my life? I want to run my own business, or I want to be a top salesperson, or I want to be the best chef I can be, or I want to be the best receptionist I can be, or I want to be the best coach, trainer that I can be. Whatever it is, I want to be the best that I can be. Okay, stop worrying about what you're going to get, because if you can put enough value out there, your needs are going to be taken care of, and you will get rewards in direct proportion with the value you put out there. There's no breaking that law. It just seems to turn up and show up again and again and again in the world every day. The Beatles put it in one way in the song "The End" off Abbey Road in 1969, which was, in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. It's been said through poetry, it's been said through music, it's been said right down the ages, right back to the years of Buddha, and it just pops up again and again and again. What we get is in direct proportion to what we give. So let's start with what we can give. Well, we've already been given gifts and strengths and stuff we're passionate about, and there's a clue there. We've been given it to use. We've been given it to use in the service of others. So if I'm sat outside a sales call and all I'm thinking about is he must sign, she must sign, I must get the deal,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Because the first thing that gets sold, is energy. So when I meet you, if I meet you face to face,
Yep.
or here over Skype, or somebody who's watching this, right, they're going to make a decision fairly quickly based on the energy that we're emitting.
Yep.
Before our intellectual argument, before the stuff we start talking about, and whilst people are listening, they're going to make a decision based on the energy, and that's key. Now, if they sense an energy that is fearful, that that my goal, my objective, my agenda is to fleece them of their money.
Yep.
If they sense that,
Boom.
they're not going to buy anything.
No. Yep.
And also, if that is, if I must sell in order to be successful, if this must result in me getting an order, then I'm going to carry some anxiety. And I'm going to start exhibiting behavior that's manipulative. I'm going to start exhibiting self-centeredness. And that's when fear happens, because when I must do this, I must achieve this, I must get this, they must act in a certain way, they must give me their business. Fear crops up because the ego hijacks it and turns it into a kind of story and starts looking for ways things could go wrong. And then when fear is present within us, that is what gets transmitted. That's what gets sold first. So however good our sales presentation is, if we're emitting fear, if we're feeling fear, we transmit fear. So they start to feel fear and they don't know why. They start to feel a bit of anxiety. They don't know why. However good our argument is, our sales presentation is, the story, the product, what it does, what it causes, however good that is, if the transporter for that is energy that has any element of fear in it, they won't buy and they won't be able to put their finger on it. They'll just be like, do you know, something didn't seem right about that. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel safe. I wasn't inspired. The right emotions weren't there. Something wasn't right about that guy. This is what they'll get.
Yep.
Does this make sense?
Does it make really sense? I can definitely relate with that.
And we set that up by saying, I've got to get. So now, of course, pragmatically, we have to be able to make a living out of it, but leave that to the law that I'm pointing to. It's not my law. It's just something that we all inherently know, and if we look for it, it's there. So, if we're looking for sales tip number one is observe what's going on inside you before you go into a sales situation, whether it's on a stage and you're presenting and selling and being a speaker. If you're a bag of nerves because you're concerned that they must like you, they must buy your stuff, they must give you a pat on the back, you must be a star. If that's all the stuff that's going through your head, then you're going to be full of fear in case that stuff doesn't happen.
Yep.
If you're a salesperson and you're going into a business and you've already decided that success and your self-esteem hinges on them buying, and if they don't, it's a disaster, then the ego is going to turn that into fear. Okay, and you're going to be frightened of not being liked, you're going to be frightened of being rejected, you're going to be frightened of them saying no to you, you're going to be frightened of them saying they want to think about it, and all these things. When I ask salespeople what their fears are, here's the first thing. They're frightened of appearing pushy, frightened of not being liked, frightened of the word no, frightened of being told I want to think about it, frightened of appearing foolish, frightened of making a mistake. I never hear somebody say, I'm frightened for the customer. And then I never hear somebody say, I'm worried that I might not give them what they need.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, if you're feeling fear, it's self-centered. Fear is selfish. Fear is self-centered. Now, danger is different. If there's a saber-toothed tiger knocking around outside in the garden, that's danger. I've got to avoid it, right? Danger is real. But fear is set in the future, in a story that hasn't even happened yet and may not happen, and it revolves around a central character called me, and the story ends up with an unhappy ending or a cliffhanger, because I'm hinging my success on what may or may not happen in the future, right? So I'm fearful that the little action figure called me in the future, in the sales call, in the sales presentation, on the stage, on the webinar, on whatever it is, if my imagined future sees that action figure not coming off really well, I feel fear in the present moment. I send it to the client, I exude fear, I dry up, the brain starts to, I feel the effects of fear in the present moment. The brain says, we don't like this, start sending out the brain chemicals, the neurotransmitters that are associated with fear and anxiety, which is noradrenaline and cortisol, and this is stuff that makes us tighten up, dries our mouth, we can't think clearly, there's no spontaneity, but we're setting that up. So if we're feeling fear, it's self-centered. What we need to do is get out of that, forget me, and focus on them. So what we need to be doing is analyzing that fear. That's number one.
Okay, and just to recap, just write it down is really important in this moment.
Yeah, it is. Naming your fears is the first step to overcoming them.
Exactly. So go through your fears. If you're afraid, there is nothing wrong in being afraid of that. There is nothing wrong, absolutely. Just know that this is what you're sending out. So the first step is just really have a check with yourself. What is that you're really feeling, and why are you feeling that? And as soon as you start working on this pattern that are more related to the mind than anything else, then your sales will just run much smoother, obviously, than before. Because you won't be like feeling this inside that wants to scream or just want to run away somewhere. So sales tip number one, control your fear. Now we have sales tip number two.
Okay. There was something that just occurred to me about that. Anyway, look, I've probably gone on about that enough, but that you know, 99% of the sales training in the world is about what to say and how to do it and how to close and all that kind of thing, and that's really important, but it's no good if you're still feeling fear. So that's why I really spend a lot of time on that. But look, once we've understood how we set that up, the mechanics and the circuitry of fear, and we've learned how to dissolve it, we then need to move on to our outer game, and that's our energy. And we need to think, right, what are the habits that I have around the energy I show up with each day that are sabotaging me? Because you know, if my habits are turning up to potential clients, to the people I'm going to serve, right, to the people that I'm going to serve, and I'm turning up late, or I'm turning up tired, or I'm turning up not dressed appropriately for the circumstances. Okay, so appropriately for the circumstances could be relaxed in a tracksuit. Appropriate for the circumstances could be in a pinstripe suit with, you know, a Windsor tie knot. It's whatever is appropriate.
I like that.
Okay, so it's what's appropriate for the circumstances. It's also about the energy that I'm carrying. So, you know, I speak to a lot of salespeople who tell me that they avoid doing cold calls in the morning, you know, they avoid doing this, they avoid doing that, and they do all their admin and social media and marketing in the morning, and then they sort of, in the afternoon, they do their cold calling, and I say, oh, great, how's that going? How's that going for you? Well, I kind of, you know, not really that great, and I do procrastinate a bit. And I said, so let's just look at this. So what you do is, when do you feel most alive? Well, in the morning. Okay, so when you're at your highest energy point, at the time when you're likely to be the most spontaneous, the most creative, the most fun, the most playful, the most childlike, the most enjoyable to engage with, you're actually farting around on a computer, creating all this stuff, when you should be speaking to your clients, who, by the way, are probably at their best in the mornings as well. So you need to think about how you're setting up your energy, right, and how you're using your energy versus the tasks, and matching energy with task. So the highest and best energy needs to be matched with the most challenging and most interactive tasks. And then when your energy is low, you do the stuff that requires the least client interaction, the least engagement. Other things and habits that we have is, and this is before we even meet a client, but it's the outer game, it's how we show up, is if you've got internal dialogue that is saying to you, I must stop doing that, I've really got to start getting down the gym early because I feel so much better in the morning if I do that, or I've really got to stop procrastinating, you start calling yourself names in your head and you're constantly having a go at yourself for the thing, I've got to stop being late, I must stop being late. You know, if you're always making apologies, you're always last to something, or there's habits that you know you've got to stop and you're continually telling yourself, I'll tell you something, your potential clients know about them. Your potential clients know about them and it irritates them. And they're letting you get away with it just because you happen to be adding maybe a bit more value than the irritation. So they'll just tolerate it. But I'm telling you, it's affecting our sales figures. It's affecting how much value we offer. It's affecting how much fun we are to be with. It's affecting our self-esteem.
Yeah.
It's affecting how we feel about ourselves. So that's the next part. And it's also about understanding what we do with our time and how focused we are with our time. You know, at the end of the day, if you're selling, okay, you've got a business, what you've got is going to add serious value to other people. All that matters is speaking to them, getting an appointment, and getting to speak to them to make a presentation, let's call it, a sales presentation. So there's two things that matter. Securing an appointment to see them or meet them, could be online, could be face-to-face, or getting them to a webinar because you're going to serve them, getting them to an event. So there's two things that matter. Getting them there so that you can be present with your potential clients, and then turning up and delivering. Those are the two things that matter. So your highest energy every day and the most important things every day are getting appointments, getting more set up, and delivering presentations. So a business person, a salesperson, and we're all in sales, whether we like it or not, we're all salespeople. And there's no getting away from that. If we go through one day without making an appointment and without making a presentation, then we are by default chopping down significantly the value we're offering to the world. Instantly, and that becomes a habit. So it's like the rules. Here's what I'm ultimately saying about this is analyze your outer game, analyze your habits, analyze your behavior, take a real honest look at your behavior, not for anybody else, for yourself. What are the habits I've got? What are my routines? Where could I be self-sabotaging? Where do I procrastinate? I've got all these gifts and passion, and when I'm at my best I really want to get them out there, but sometimes I don't. What is it that's stopping me? Every day I need to find someone new to make an appointment to go and see, or an event to hold, and then today I need to get face to face and try and serve somebody, find out what they need, give them it, ask for the business, start a relationship. Those are the two things every day, making appointments and making presentations, and doing it at the time when my energy is the highest. That's number two.
We have tip number 2. Choose the time where your energy is the highest, first of all, and then make an appointment and making sales presentation. I remember that because we started GTEx 1 year ago, and I was mostly focused on the online part. As Paul was saying, updating social media, doing Facebook, sending emails, and guess why? No much business was coming in. However, I had a phone call with Ben. After Ben, actually, that is the other founder of GTEx, had a call with you, Paul. And Ben told me, you know, Simone, now stop doing all this bullshit and go out and meet people. So really, he completely took me from the social media side to go out and speak to people and do presentations. In less than 2 months, we've been able to make our startup sustainable through the year, and we are just at the beginning.
And that's fantastic.
For us, this has been for everyone that is running a startup business, this is just the moment they are waiting for, and then there is the next level. And the strategy works wherever you are. You are in a startup level, get to this point. you are already having a successful business, you can make it even more successful if you follow those tips, and if you have this constant interaction day after day after day with the client that you have. Now, Paul, last one. Says tip number 3, and then we let you go.
Right. I just want to make one thing clear, okay, and that is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with social media. In fact, it's incredible. It's an integral part of any business, and it's fun, and without a doubt is crucial to a business. But and it's just like there's nothing wrong with wealth. There's nothing wrong with huge wealth. All I'm saying is we need to notice for ourselves what our relationship is with that thing. So if our relationship with wealth is actually not feeling right, then we need to deal with that. If we are social media-ing at a time when we should be out knocking on doors, picking up the phone, speaking to people, networking, getting out, making presentations, if we're substituting what we really should be doing with something that's easy, if we're substituting what's right for what's easy or perceived to be easy, then that's what we need to look at. That's what I'm saying. It's about proper, honest. That's why I said not bullshitting ourselves, because we can bullshit the world to a degree, allegedly, but a little bit. But the person we can't bullshit is us, because we know. Okay, sales tip number 3 is really just pragmatic. And my logo for Stressless Sales is a pyramid, okay, with an S inside for Stressless. And we've already discovered the Stressless, and that is once you conquer fear, you learn how to dissolve fear, then you play, you become playful, and you're fun to be with and engaging to be with, and what you're good at just shines through. It's effortless, okay, and stressless. But the triangle represents 3 things. It represents the 3 levels that I have discovered over 30 years of selling, okay, and that's from being a kid knocking on doors to literally every single sales situation anyone's going to face. Every sales objection, whether it's business to consumer, knocking on doors in domestically, you know, around streets to sell products on the door, whether it's business to business, whether it's on the phone, on the stage, webinars, big conferences, presenting to a board, running conferences of 800-900 people, running sales teams of up to 500, and selling anything from a fiver to up to 102 million, which was the sales that my sales team sold in 2012 before I decided to do my own thing and become a sales coach. I've faced every single situation. I have failed massively. I've had more sales fails than anybody else I know. But I've also, it's not about the sales fails, it's about the what's left, and what's left is the successes and the learns. So, and that's what I coach on. Now, what I've found is that there are 3 levels or 3 sides to that pyramid, okay? And the first one is when you are finding out what people buy, okay? The first one is, and it's almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where Maslow's hierarchy is in stages. Firstly is pragmatic, so let's call it the base of the pyramid, okay, is you have to work out how you and your product can save them time, save them money, or create more time for them, or create more money. Nice. Those are the 2 practical resources. Does my product save you time? Does my product bring more time into your life? How? How does it do that? What can you do with that time? So I need to think about that. Secondly, does my product save you money? Does it create more disposable income? Does it create more wealth in your business? Does it add profits to your life, your business? Because those are the first things people will look to, okay? But most people...
I'm taking notes.
So that's the base.
I'm taking notes.
That's the base of the pyramid, is we have to start with the pragmatic. How does what I do save time, create time, save money, create money? Okay? And I need to know why, how, and I need to find out from them how their time is, because if we're constantly feeling that we're running out of time and we haven't got time to do everything, then we're under stress. So how can I improve their relationship with time so that they feel less stressful and get more done? How can I help them make more money, make more profit, save money? How can me and my product do that? I need to get to that straight away.
Yeah.
Secondly, most people stop here. Most salespeople just stop there, and they finish, and they're ending just with a logical argument. Well, that's why most salespeople fail, because this just buys you a ticket. It just buys you a ticket to keep talking to them. It just buys their attention. If I can show you how I can save you money and save you time, or create money and create more time, which are essentially the same thing. If I can improve time and money for you, it just buys me a ticket to keep talking. Whereas most salespeople will say, right, so my product will help you save time and money, and it's X amount, shall we go ahead? And the client says, think about it. And most salespeople haven't got an answer for I'll think about it. They haven't, which amazes me. But that's because very little employers invest in sales training of any quality, and most of the sales training out there is bullshit. It doesn't work. It's just, and that's my experience. Not that I love sales and teachers and coaches and mentors, and I know some amazing people, but there's also an awful lot of crap out there which is just rip off. So it just buys me a ticket. The next thing I've got to do is I've got to find out how my product enhances their identity. So how are they going to be seen by others? How is their identity, their status going to be elevated by having my product? How are others going to see them? Their friends, their employees, their colleagues, their boss, their investors, their family. Why do people, when they try on a great pair of shoes, look in a mirror and see how the shoes look? If it was just about comfort, right? If it was only about comfort, we'd all be walking around in really comfortable shoes. It's all about how we look. We want to look a certain way that reinforces our identity, how we want to be seen. So once I've worked out how my product can save you time and money, the next thing I've got to take this to is, right, let me tell you something else, Mr. Client. Tell me about your brand. Tell me how you want to be seen. Tell me how you want to be positioned. How do you want your clients to see you? How do you want your colleagues to see you, your employees to see you as a leader? We need to look at the relationship with how everybody sees them. How is this product going to help them be seen more in the way that they want to be seen? How is it going to improve and increase the identity that they want to have? Now, when I'm now tapping into this, I'm really getting into what people truly buy on, which is an emotional level. They buy emotionally, then justify it with logic. That's, if you like, one of the sides of the pyramid. But we're now dealing with, let's go on to the third side. So it's identity second and third, and this is the crux. Without this, you've got nothing. With this, you have truly hit the jackpot. And this is self-esteem. How does my product, when they have saved money, when they have saved time, when they've improved their circumstances in their life and business, financially and time, when their sense of identity has been improved because they've got more time to enjoy life, their energy's up, they're feeling more in the moment, they're traveling lighter. And other people are seeing them and saying, you're different, you seem less stressed, your business is going well, we like to buy off you, look like you're doing really well, can I come to your events? More people are coming to you, you become like a magnet. The next thing is, how is our product going to make them feel about themselves? How are the outcomes of our product? People talk about features too much. What does our product create in terms of outcomes? How are you going to feel when this product has done its job? How are they going to feel about who they are? How are they going to feel about themselves? It's the ultimate. The ultimate is, how do I feel about me? That's the ultimate. All anybody wants is a feeling about themselves that is good. If we feel great about ourselves, we are unstoppable every day. We don't need a lot of money that day to tell us we're great. What we need is, we just want to get out and put our value into the world, and we're full of passion and enthusiasm. We're in the moment and we're spontaneous. That's what they want too. So you need to link your product to self-esteem and show them how it's going to improve their self-esteem. And here's something else, a final thing, right?
Wow.
One final thing. Okay, this is the bonus. Most salespeople start conversations off by talking about themselves and their past. Customers are not interested. Customers are interested in themselves and their future. So if I'm meeting a client, I ain't going to talk to you all about me and my past. You couldn't care less. What I'm going to talk about is you and your future.
Yeah.
You and your future, your time and your money, how can we get it better? How other people see you and how you want to be seen. How can I improve that? And thirdly, how you feel about yourself all the time. The most important judge in the world, which is you. How do you feel about yourself? How can I improve that? Now, if you can get your product to tick all of those needs, those key needs of that pyramid, you are on to a winner. You've hit the jackpot.
That's done. Brilliant. So to recap, does this product save you time and money or create more time and more money? Does improve your sense of identity and also does improve your self-esteem?
Yes.
If you have those three keys, bang, deal done. Is really a no-brainer. And I can say that because after talking with Paul and developing and changing my sales strategy, basing on these systems that I'm sure you spoke with Ben about them, because Ben was actually telling me about them, and this is how we restructured all our sales strategy. Results came. Results came, and honestly, I can say that I have almost, in the past 2 months, I had a 80% conclusion rate in all the sales meetings that I had, which has been like a good amount. So those things really works. Those things really works, and thank you again, Paul, for the help and support you gave us.
You're welcome. It's a privilege.
Now, I was browsing on your website, and I know that your program is opening now.
Yes.
Soon. Before we introduce and we talk about the event, do you want to share a bit more where people can find out more about your program and where they can know more about that?
Yes, certainly. Okay, I've got a program which has been designed to give people. You've heard a little tiny bit about three keys, three key things. There are 7. Okay, there are 7 fundamentals to selling a peak performance without stress. 7 fundamentals. Okay, and those 7 fundamentals, you've got to have them. Okay, so if you're trying to turn what you do into money by serving others, you have to have them. Okay, now, but if they're priced at thousands of pounds, you're not going to get them, because the people that need them the most haven't got thousands of pounds lying around. They need to get the know-how in order to earn the money, right? So I've priced this product at 100 quid so that everybody can afford it. Anybody who's in business at any level can find 100 quid and they can join it. And it's on www.stresslesssales.com. Okay, there isn't anywhere I can load a link here, is there, Ben?
I will share the link on Facebook and on our mailing list.
Great. Okay. Well, what this product effectively does is this will get you more sales with less stress over 7 weeks. Now, I'm not going to pitch it. You can take a look. It's a group of 25 people that I work intensely with and intimately with and get to know personally over 7 weeks in a very tight-knit group. And it's 100 quid per person. Yeah. And the results defy logic, right? They defy logic.
I saw on your Facebook page. I don't remember the name now. That she got like the first check of £30,000.
Yes, she did today.
Right.
Yeah, one of my clients.
Just today, I was browsing on your Facebook page and I was reading that testimonial. Finally, my first £30,000 check. I was like, well done.
And we've been nurturing this process with this client who's fantastic. She's awesome, and she's been working with the Stressless Sales Program. We've been nurturing this top thought leader in London in their industry for over 4 months now. Wow. Nurturing their needs and their wants and desires, and today it happened. A £30,000 order, paid, done.
Nice.
And that's just one of many. So look, if people want to really transform in a way that's completely affordable, and this is not easy, they've got to show up, right? But if they really want to make a difference and have something that lasts them a lifetime, then you can get it for £100, and job done.
Which is really priceless for what Paul offer, and from our experience, we completely transformed GTEx through him and through this method. So please ever go check it out. I will share the link on the mailing list and also on our YouTube channel underneath this webinar. Now, Paul is going to speak with us, for us actually, on the 3rd of June. This is going to be a mind-blowing event because, as you know, all our events are very interactive and very experiential. So it's not about you taking a bunch of notes that you're never going to see again, but it's about you sitting there, going through practical exercises, and job done. Once you're out of the room, you have already a lot of the work done, and you know in particular how to do it. So this is what we are going to offer, and is an invaluable event, in particular if you are looking to increase your business rapidly over the next few months, applying really simple tools that Paul is going to share with us through his stressless sales system. Now, the price of the ticket is £6. You can find on the page you're looking the webinar the link. So if you are with us now, please go scroll down and get your ticket now. The first 15 people get a ticket for £6. Otherwise, it's going to be £8. So if you are the first 15, just scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, get your ticket now. It's going to be really amazing. And this is what we gave you. Just those tips today, if applied, because the work is down to you. If you don't do them, nothing is going to change. But if you apply them carefully and with strategic consistency, then the results are just going to pour down from you with time. It's just really a matter of consistency, applying them, getting meaty with clients, and the results are going to come. So we are looking forward to seeing you on the 3rd of June at 7 p.m. You find the details of the address in the page. Paul, thank you. Thank you very much.
My privilege.
I have no words to express my gratitude in this moment.
My pleasure. And incidentally, on Tuesday next week, where I'm not just going to do all this chat again. We're going to actually explore this stressless sales pyramid, and we're going to get people practicing and having fun with it, and as well as having fun, making some realizations where they'll be like, wow, oh my God, that is a breakthrough. So there's going to be some serious moments of awakening around that triangle as applies to them and their business and their life. That's what we're going to do.
And on this note, nothing else to say. We see each other on the 3rd. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
And we see each other on the 3rd. Keep following us on social media, YouTube, Facebook, wherever. Subscribe to our mailing list. Get the ticket. See each other on the 3rd. Ciao, ciao.